Hi, everyone. Welcome to our last episode of the year, the 2021 end of year wrap up. I'm your host, Dahlia, and I'm joined by my lovely co hosts, Trisha and Helen. And for this episode, we're going to do it a little bit differently. Trisha's going to lead this one and kind of show us what the year looked like and a few more thoughts. Go ahead, Trisha.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the intro. Yes, we're going to be a bit more informal, which is probably making Dahlia nervous. She likes to be a bit more prepared than this. But I'm like, hey, let's just do a wrap up of what's happened this year. And she's like, I need to know the stats. I need to know when you're going to do these things and who's going to do what. Calm down, Dahlia. It's fine. I'm only drinking a glass of wine. It's going to be absolutely fine. So more informal, a bit of a chat, and we have a very special guest because Helen Scott is no longer with us. She died. No, she's dead.
Whoa! That was unnecessarily harsh, Trisha. But no, thank you for having me back for this coffee club, because it's lovely to be here with you and to be able to look back at the year together. So yes, I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's probably one of the things I find about what we do is that because we have a bunch of different channels, we've got Twitter and we've got YouTube and we've got blogs and stuff like that. We don't always have the same audience across all of those channels. So people who often watch this show might not even realize that Helen has left us and she no longer works for JetBrains. So I'm sure we're going to come onto that in a minute. So why don't we charge straight on, if I can find my show notes, because I had to have show notes. Otherwise, Dahlia would have been very upset indeed.
You're giving me a really bad reputation, Trisha.
I'm giving you a great reputation. I'm giving myself a bad reputation.
Trisha, she's a lot more relaxed than Trisha's implying.
No, I'm not saying that you're stressed. I'm saying that you like a structure, which is a very sensible thing to do. And I'm rocking up with a glass of wine going, Dahlia, don't worry about it. It's fine. I think it reflects worse on me than it does on you. Right. Having said that, I did produce slides because we are developer advocates and we do like to do stuff in Keynote or PowerPoint these days. So I wanted to do a quick summary. I don't know, it might be quick, it might not. I wanted to do an overview of what the Java Developer Advocacy team did this year. And the Java Developer Advocates are, of course, or were, the three of us plus Mala. So let's have a look at what we did. We closed 369 issues. The Evan word isn't going to mean a lot to a lot of other people, but that's the project for evangelism, as was developer advocacy inside JetBrains. So between the four of us, somehow we closed 369 issues in just 1 year. I think we closed a lot of them as won't fix.
Don't say that.
I can't see how we could have done that.
It still counts. It still counts.
You wrote the query. It must be right. So
yes. I did.
Let's go with it.
I had to Google it and everything. I wrote down what the query was and 369 issues. So how does that break down? We did 46 blog posts between the four of us. I think that's really quite impressive because we handed over some of the blogging to people like Ida and Irina, and we actually decreased the amount of blogs that we normally do. And we still managed to produce 46 blog posts this year, just for the IntelliJ IDEA blog. Only 9 of those were annotated monthly from our team, because as I said, we handed that over to the sort of product team. And so the three of us did 9 annotated monthlies this year, which was a big relief for me because, sorry, I've got a keen finger. Normally I have to do every single annotated monthly, and it was quite nice not to have to do every single one every month, because it gets to the first week of the month and I'm like, oh my goodness, I have to drop everything and do annotated monthly. So instead what I did was I taught Dahlia and Helen how to panic about the first week of the month. Oh my God, now I've got to do annotated monthly.
It's true.
It was good. You did a good job on that. I really liked what you did. We did 101 Twitter tips, probably. I'm not sure. We usually tweet twice a week. Helen managed a bunch of those. We had a bit of a rough patch over summer, which was the ones that I did because I was like, let's try this out. Oh no, that didn't work out very well. So we produced 101 Twitter tips. Somehow we actually put more onto the guide, but we've been generally trying to, we have something called the IntelliJ IDEA guide, which probably not everybody knows about. What we wanted to do to start that off is to put a lot of the Twitter tips on there, because in Twitter tips, they are very ephemeral and they just disappear. And you see this tweet and it's great and it disappears off your timeline forever and you never get back to it again. So we put it on this thing called the IntelliJ IDEA Guide, which Helen really kicked off for us this year. So we had 103 tips go onto the guide. We had 15 tutorials go onto the guide. We had been publishing tutorials on the IntelliJ IDEA blog. Over the 7 years that I've been here, we've had a lot of conversations about where do tutorials belong? Because if you put them on the blog, they kind of eventually disappear and it looks like they're kind of time dependent. If you put them in web help, which is where a lot of our reference documentation is, it's kind of difficult to find them. And they're kind of, the IntelliJ IDEA help is huge because the product is so huge. So instead, we tried out the idea of using the guide for these tutorials, which I really like because it's a really nice way to break it down into steps instead of being like either one big blog post or a series of blog posts. It's broken down quite nicely, and we can tie it in with the YouTube videos and the tips. So Helen did most of those 15 guides, and she did a great job with that. We did 59 YouTube videos. This does not include IntelliJ IDEA Conf. I don't think I included the live streams with this, actually. I think I just included the videos. Maybe I did, but anything that the four of us worked on. So any of our own talks, any of the screencasts, like Dahlia's amazing Docker screencasts, apart from two of those went to the JetBrains YouTube channel. But yes, the technology screencasts, what's new in Java, Helen's take on, we started a new thing of trying to do pro tips, a lot of those things. So we did 59 YouTube videos this year. It's no wonder I stopped doing videos in September. I was like, I can't do any more. So many of them. We did, Mala did 20 developer interviews. She for IntelliJ IDEA's 20th anniversary, she found 20 influencers, if you like, or 20 well-known-ish developers in the community who are keen on IntelliJ IDEA, interviewed them for tips and tricks. What do they like about IntelliJ? Why is it awesome? And that kind of thing. I really enjoyed those videos, actually. It was much more human to be able to sort of hear it from other developers. What do they like about IntelliJ IDEA, rather than it being sort of just us always saying, hey, there's these features which are cool. However, you will find that some of those developers are us. I don't know if yours have gone live yet, Dahlia and Helen. So I said 20.
I don't think so.
I haven't seen them yet, but they should go before the end of the year. So there will be, by the end of the year, there will be 20 developer interviews. What else? 3 IntelliJ IDEA releases. Do I have to spell them out? 2021.1, 2, and 3. We did our usual bit of supporting those, working with the EAP, trying them out, doing what's new videos, and so on and so forth. We supported 2 Java releases too, because we had Java 16 and Java 17. Java 17 being the big long-term support release, which you could argue a lot of the enterprises have been waiting for. So we might have a bit of a chat about that when our slides are over. And so Mala does a great job of doing the what's new in Java for the Java releases. She does it on the blog and she does it on the screencasts. And certainly for the Java 16 release, I did a bunch of conference talks around Java 16. Dahlia, you did some panels and stuff around Java 17, I think. So yes. There's always a bit of work to do around the new stuff in Java. We had 1 IntelliJ IDEA Conf. Last year, we had the JetBrains Technology Day for Java, which was much more general for Java. This year, we did a specific IntelliJ IDEA conference, it was really cool. I mean, I can hardly remember because it's February. It's like nearly a whole year ago. But it was really nice to be able to focus on the IDE. I love doing all the Java stuff. I love thinking about Java in a broader sense. It's more helpful generally for our audience. But it was really nice to take 2 days to look at the IDE, learning stuff about how the debugger works, learning about how the user interface and the usability is thought about. What else? There were some really great talks in that. The debugger one was the one that blew me away. I can't forget that one. So there was loads of great stuff in there. So at the beginning of the year, we had like 16 videos of really in-depth content from IntelliJ IDEA Conf.
Trisha, you promised to sing at this point.
Oh, yeah. And a 20th anniversary. Yes, we are counting down. I did it more or less in numerical order. So this is like my partridge in a pear tree. So yes, we had, it was the 20th anniversary of IntelliJ IDEA at the start of this year. And we tried to get a bunch of stuff done right in time for the birthday, which was sort of January, February. But as our product marketing manager kept reminding us, like, we've got the whole year to do 20th anniversary stuff. So we did a whole bunch of stuff over the year about the 20th anniversary of IntelliJ IDEA. Right, what's next? There we had, oh yeah. We did a coding project, which I think was really, I know that doesn't sound that exciting to those of you who write code every day, but for developer advocates who spend a lot of time wrestling with Twitter and tweet schedulers and Camtasia to do videos, and we were trying to struggle with new features in whatever the new version of IntelliJ IDEA is. It was nice to we took April, the three of us. We sat down, we created a Spring Boot project from scratch, microservices, just two of them, which was this restaurant service. So it had like a restaurant booking service. We played a bit with MongoDB. We played a bit with JPA, not JPA and MongoDB, because that makes no sense. We had MySQL, and I remember the main comment I remember from coding, triple coding with the two of you, is Dahlia saying to me, "You're writing a test. You're writing a test first. Oh, you're TDDing the whole thing." I'm like, yes.
Honestly, I thought you were going to mention something about spelling a certain word. So, okay.
I am not going to make any rude hand gestures because I have not drunk enough wine for that yet. But insert a rude hand gesture here. What was the other thing? There was lots of cool stuff about the coding project. We used Code With Me so that we could actually like pair together on a project, even though the three of us are in completely different countries. So that was quite cool. What else? So was the test, there was misspelling restaurant 5,000 times.
That's Trisha's favorite word to spell.
Restaurant.
Yeah, she really enjoys it.
It's really fun to pair with someone when every time they spell the main word of the project, they misspell it. You get so many chances to give them crap. It was quite enjoyable.
It was a lot of fun.
I remember the other thing I was going to say, because we started using Descript to do some of our videos so that we could transcribe them. And what would be really fun would be to put together an outtakes from those coding sessions, because there was a lot of swearing.
It would just be a lot of restaurant over and over again.
Or beeping.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we really wanted to do a lot more off the back of that. We wanted to do loads of spring content off the back of that, but we ended up, like, as always, we ended up running onto other things. But we've still kind of got that in the backlog. And I think that was a really good way for the three of us to exchange skills, really. Like, I was doing my IntelliJ Foo, and Dahlia was kind of telling me how databases worked, which is helpful. And Helen's like, right, show me how to do this kind of thing, because I think like this stuff makes no sense. So, and Helen, you did your Hello Spring project off the back of it as well.
Yeah, that's on the guide, and a video, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's in both places.
So, and I learned about test containers as well, which I will write the blog about test containers, I promise.
That makes me think about a question for the audience. Have you gotten to do any pair programming this year? I'm curious who else gets a chance to do that at their job. So let us know in the chat.
Yeah, actually, I do want to take this opportunity to have a tiny pause and ask the audience. I wonder how many, I can't see here how many people are here, but I wanted to have Nacho's here. Hi, Nacho. I wanted to ask the audience, like, what have you been up to this year? What are your, let's try and talk about wins, because 2021 has been not a great year for a lot of people. There have been a lot of downsides, and I don't want to be all positive. What's it called? Toxic positivity, to try and ignore all of that stuff. But I do want to try and focus on the wins and the stuff that we've had this year, and like celebrate whatever small number of good things have happened this year. So drop us in the comments. Let us know what you've been up to, a win or two that you've had. It doesn't have to be about Java, about IntelliJ IDEA, but if it is, that's like great. I'm kind of interested to some extent as well about challenges, especially I think around migration to Java and what Java versions people are using, and do they have plans to move?
Yeah, and Raja is mentioning Log4j as one of the downsides of this year. I think we've had a lot of outages and a lot of things that are impacting us this year. Maybe it was this bad previous years, but it just feels like it was so close to right now that we remember them. Yeah, I do. I'm curious, what are you proud of accomplishing in 2021? Maybe just surviving the year. That could be an accomplishment. So drop it in the chat. We're watching it, and we're definitely interested in knowing what else did y'all do. This is what we did. What did y'all do?
And I can't believe, you're absolutely right what you say, that one remembers the stuff that happened a week or two ago, maybe a month ago, which is why I really wanted to put together an actual presentation to remind us of IntelliJ IDEA Conf, for example, which seems so long ago, but all falls under this year as well.
I was worried about saying 2021 wrap up because I'm like, what year is it?
I know. To me, it's like March 2550 of 2020. Because 2020 will never end. Did you see Hattie's tweet the other day that he said that 2022 is pronounced the same as 2022?
Yeah, a little bit of me died when I read that tweet.
2022 will be better. It will be. I see a comment about the Toolbox app. Great addition to the setup. I actually can't rave enough about Toolbox. I used to have standalone IntelliJ IDEA, and it would remind you to update itself and restart itself. I don't know if it still does that because I don't use it anymore. I use Toolbox, which keeps track of all the versions, including allows you to play with the EAP version and the production version and try new stuff. And for me, I can switch between community and ultimate and stuff. It's really helpful.
Yeah, I love the Toolbox app. I see we are participating in peer programming and everyday tasks. I am jealous. That is amazing. I love peer programming, especially with someone that knows a little bit more about the code than me because I'm learning a lot. So it's always like a learning opportunity.
I actually quite like programming with people who. I mean, I like programming with people who know more than me as well, because you learn a lot. But I always like programming with people who don't know the code base or don't know the same things that I know, because the sorts of questions they ask really make you think, oh yeah, why am I doing things that way? Or does this make sense? Or do I actually know what I'm doing? I'm trying to read the comments as well at the same time. And I know you are as well. Who's going to read the comments? So Natchal's talking about the code with me. Okay. So keep them coming. Tell us your comments of what you've been up to in 2021. Anything, even the smallest wins. We will take any win. Helen, do you have anything to add?
Just my experience of pair programming was obviously the project we worked on, Project Blossom, and that was, jokes aside, spelling aside, it was such an incredible learning experience, because I think certainly I had a kind of misconception that experienced developers didn't need to Google this stuff. and watching YouTube be like, yeah, no idea, let's Google it. And then even arguing over what exactly to Google, which happened, by the way.
I'd forgotten that. That was a really, really helpful exercise of the keywords you look for. What is it we're trying to solve, and what is the thing that it's
Googling is a skill. And watching you two tweak the search criteria to exactly what you thought would get you to what you needed was really enlightening and actually quite comforting to watch. So very useful experience as well.
I am working with InDesign at the moment for some other projects, and I was trying to Google stuff for InDesign. I was like, I don't even know what words I'm going to use. I'm going to start with the words InDesign and then do the thing that I want it to do. It's just really tough. Someone mentioned about the GitHub link for the project, which we will post in there we'll post in there when we can. Okay, so if one of you two, Dahlia or Helen, could find the GitHub links to it's in my repo somewhere.
On it.
And I will skip on to the next thing. Oh, I love it. Someone's saying they've switched from Eclipse to IntelliJ IDEA. You're in the right place. Well done. Dahlia does not approve. Both IDEs are perfectly
They're
acceptable.
both great.
The right tool for the right job.
Exactly.
So so we finished up that coding project, and then I do have to mention some negatives from this year. We did lose someone this year, Helen. She did leave us.
Sorry.
And this loss affected me so deeply that I am also leaving JetBrains. Today is my last JetBrains appearance. I am, to be fair, it's not Helen's
Not my fault, by the way. No. Let's not tie these two events together.
Yes. So, basically my last day is tomorrow. I am going to move on from JetBrains. I have other things that I want to do, but mostly I'm going to try and not do as much as possible for all the reasons we just said. Like, it's exhausting. Life is exhausting, and I am going to take a bit of a break for now. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to make this stream all about me. So let's have another presentation about Trisha, since it is my last one. And so I wanted to have a quick look. I wanted to have a look at what I have achieved over the 7 years here at JetBrains, because it has been an amazing journey for me. I've been here for 7 years. The longest I'd ever been anywhere before then was 4 years at the financial exchange I worked on. So like, it's just been, I would never stay anywhere for 7 years if it wasn't absolutely brilliant. Like, there's so much to do. I get bored really easily. I've never been bored here. There's so much to do. There's so much variety, and building up the team here has been one of the things which has really kept me going over the last 2 years. So let's have a quick go through. I closed 387 issues, which I'm confused at because most of them apparently were this year. No, not really. It breaks down into a whole bunch of stuff about screencast, blog speaking, etc. Oh my goodness. Over 7 years, I wrote 151 JetBrains blog posts, which seems extreme. A lot of those were IntelliJ IDEA blog posts. My first post was, why do we write automated tests? And that whole conversation, actually, Dahlia, about how I was doing test-driven development was not designed to lead into the fact that my first post was about automated tests. I'm really keen on tests. I think they're really important. And my top performing post was using JUnit 5 and IntelliJ IDEA, which it was one of my oldest posts, but it's by far the most top performing post. So I don't know if it's because people really wanted to know about using JUnit 5 or if someone paid someone to go and look at that a lot of times. And for some reason, the Working with Gradle tutorial, it's newish, it's this year, but it did not perform very well. So I tell all your friends to go and read the Working with Gradle tutorial, because it's one of the top performing videos, and it hasn't worked very well as a tutorial. So I'm really interested in that. Anyway, so of those 151 blog posts, 56 were Java annotated monthly. So that explains a lot. I did 15 blog posts for UpSource, which were mostly around what to look for in a code review, which when I went on maternity leave the first time, Hattie took all those blog posts and put them into a book for me, which was amazing. So technically I became a published author by virtue of ranting on the internet about code review, and Hattie going away and building it into a book when I was pregnant and giving birth. I wrote 2 JetBrains blog posts, 13 guest posts and articles. I think I did more than that, but that's like stuff elsewhere. I did over 100 IntelliJ IDEA YouTube videos. In the IntelliJ IDEA YouTube channel at the moment, I have 95 videos live. That's just me. And a lot have been deleted, delisted, replaced, all the rest of that stuff. I've done What's New videos for every release since 14.1, which is the first release when I was here. That was March when I first joined. I joined in January. I've only missed 2. I missed one, 2017.1, because I was at Devox US and I wrote 3 blog posts instead. And I just missed the 2021.3 one because I was sick. And I cannot tell you the guilt I had from missing 2021.3. And now I understand why. I gave birth twice and I still didn't miss a single What's New video during 2 pregnancies. So yeah, that's become a bit of a staple of my life. There's some more YouTube videos on the JetBrains channel, including UpSource videos, which are getting on a little bit now, but I just love talking about code review. 21, I've appeared in 21 interviews and podcasts. Apparently, I've been to 57 conferences over these 7 years. It's probably more than that because those are all the ones I actually bothered to put on my blog. But that's a lot of conferences, averaging about like 8 a year. I did 16 in my first year. What happened was, and anyone who's new to developer advocacy will know this was my first full-time job as a developer advocate. So I was like, right, I don't need to balance conferences with my day job. I can just go to any of the conferences that I want to. So I said yes to everything. And I got pregnant in the first 3 months of working here. And then I had to do 16 conferences while pregnant. Not recommended. Do not do that. So apparently TripIt says that I traveled 386,000 kilometers. I'm not sure how accurate that is. That includes personal trips too, but most of them are conferences. I submitted 82 expense reports. JetBrains doesn't care about that. I just had to track where all my money was going. I stopped counting at 460 Twitter tips for IntelliJ IDEA and Upsource. Those are all the ones that we put, that we used to record in the old wiki. And any ones after that, I just didn't. I stopped counting. So that's a lot. I kind of wrote 1.5 books, sort of. I co-edited 97 Things Every Java Programmer Should Know last year with Kevlin Henney. Haddy published the What to Look For in a Code Review book with me, which I authored effectively, and I was in Developer Advocate. I had 2 kids. I lost 2 members of my family, including my mum. And I created the Java Advocacy team, which is, I think, probably my greatest achievement. I would say that because they're all here. Not what Mala's not here, but she might watch this later. So so that's like my biggest thing. People are asking me what I'm doing next. I'm not moving to somewhere else. I'm not moving to another company. I'm going to take some time off. I am going to, people may know, I'm already working on the 3rd edition of Head First Java. I need to finish that. I really need to finish that. And then that should come out in the middle of next year. And also, Helen and I are working on a project called Getting to Know IntelliJ IDEA, which we might be able to give a link to later. Some people may know that we've been working on this book together. So we're working on a book, sort of consolidating all the stuff we've been doing for IntelliJ IDEA. So that is relevant for the audience, really, I think. Yes, so that is it. Let's stop that now, and I can stop talking. That was my 7 years at JetBrains.
Nicely condensed. I didn't create a slide deck for my 18 months at JetBrains, so I'm going to save you all from that. But yeah, that was a great whirlwind tour, Trish. Just everything you've done and been part of is really huge.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. You make me feel like I shouldn't leave.
Have more wine.
Have more wine. Yes. Dahlia's not saying anything because she wants to cry.
No.
I almost did it, but I'm not going to.
No crying.
It's been such a privilege getting to work with both of you. I know this is a once in a lifetime dream, so thank you both for everything you've done.
Oh,
remote hug.
Remote hug. Oh,
I'm going to get over there and give you a proper hug as soon as I can.
And breathe COVID all over her.
No, that's not part of the deal.
I'm going to do my usual deflection. Let's think about something cheerful so that we don't all cry. Helen, you wanted to talk about, you did the guide?
Yeah, so whirlwind tour. Like I say, didn't do any slides because I'm not that well prepared. And I've been kind of busy. There's a lot going on, new job and all. So yeah, the guide, I did drop a link into the YouTube chat for that. I'm very proud of that. Also dropped a link in to Vignesh's Twitter account. So he's actually an external contributor to the guide. And I don't know if you're here, Vignesh, but I haven't seen you in the chat. Maybe you'll watch this back. But he's been incredible and contributing his knowledge and his experience of IntelliJ IDEA into that platform, and I've really appreciated that, and I've learned a lot from him as well about, you know, the product, and just working together has been a huge learning experience as well. So shout out to him. The Twitter tips have been largely my responsibility for the majority of time at JetBrains. So if you loved them or hated them, that's probably on me. The Helen's Takes On videos, I was really nervous actually about doing those to start with, because I thought, well, no one's going to be interested in this stuff. And what do you know? I was wrong and Trish was right. And that happens a lot. So I really enjoyed doing those and doing a more informal video, not quite the polished screencast that you see in some of our older videos. Much less takes, by the way, because you can just delete it and re-record it like 5 times and you're done. Maybe 10. I've authored some blogs on foodj.io, so if you haven't already checked that out, friends of the OpenJDK. So check that one out, including apparently the most popular blog by far of multiple carrots in IntelliJ IDEA. That one's particularly well read. Should you be interested in that? I love multiple carrots, just a thing. I spoke at Devox UK and JLove this year. I'm currently putting together a new talk for next year, which is nearly here. Gosh, 2022. Oh, Hattie's in my head. And then the announcement that you just heard from Trisha G as well as a different book collaboration with somebody else in the community. And of course, my new job working on keynotes at MongoDB. So I am a very busy girl at the moment, which explains why I have no slide deck to show you. But if you do want a summary of any of that, or you're interested in learning more, I did put a blog on my website, so www.helenjoescott.com, and that homepage has my latest blog of leaving JetBrains, so you can go and take a read of it there if you want to. That's me.
I want to highlight a bit of what Dahlia's done. Oh, well, I want to clap you, Helen, for what you've done, because actually, we hired you 18 months ago, right? And obviously I knew you beforehand, and I had a feeling I knew what you were capable of, but you've delivered so much in this amount of time, and you came in fact, you were writing blog posts before you even joined us.
I know.
You were a little bit keen. You've done so much over this time. The guide would not be there without you. The tutorials and blogs that we did, a large chunk of the ones that came out earlier this year was from you, and last year's as well. I was inspired by your Helen's Take On videos, because the old-fashioned perfect videos is a style that I'd evolved over time, because that's kind of how I thought that we should do stuff. And it was really inspiring to see you work through it and talk through it in a more human and personable way. So that changed the way I approach my video production as well. So I'm just so grateful for everything that you've done since you've been here. It has changed the way that I work, and you've added a lot to IntelliJ IDEA advocacy.
Thank you.
I wanted to move on to Dahlia and mention another thing about videos as well, because the main highlight for you this year was the Docker videos. And one of the things I wanted to say about that is that one of the things I loved about working in this team with the 4 of us is finding our own styles for the videos. We don't all have to do things the same way. And so Helen's Take On are like shorter, more informal, less polished. And if anything, Dahlia's is about far away from that as you can possibly get. And it takes a lot of time to research the technology. You work with the video team to produce something that's really high quality. And that has a different type of audience as well, and a different type of reach. And what I love about that is having that different combination of different videos, different technologies, different styles, different approaches helps to really reach a much broader audience. With the Docker videos in particular, Mala and I both of us tried to look at Docker at least twice over the last 3 or 4 years. And both of us went, I don't have time to learn this. And I don't have time to put together a good workflow to demonstrate it, because it's not so much about the technology, as you know, Dahlia. Like it's about, you figure out the technology and then you go, well, why is it helpful? What's it useful for? What are the developers really going to need to do? And the meetings you and I had, Dahlia, were about like, but from you, but I don't know whether to show this or this, and I don't know which is most helpful, and what are the developers really doing, and what problems are we trying to solve? You weren't thinking, where's the button for running this thing? You were thinking in terms of like real developer advocacy, like advocating for and to the developers who use our products. And I sometimes feel like perhaps, Dalia, you were thinking, I should be doing these videos much faster. Helen can do her Helen's take on in 40 minutes. But your videos are completely different. They have a different audience, they have a different style, and they have different value. And I am so pleased that you did the Docker videos and that I didn't have to do that.
By the way, all the stuff that Trisha said is why I loved working with her and having her as a lead, because she was always cheering me on every time. So thanks, Trisha.
I will set up an automated tweet to you every now and again. Go, Dalia, go! You got this.
Mm-hmm.
Have we got some links to your Docker videos? And pop in the chat.
I'll
they
pop
are
the playlist.
Amazing. Yeah, that'd be perfect. Because I know it obviously it took me less time to put my videos out there, but they are a very different style of video and a lot less polished, and pretty much 5 to 10 takes every time I swore. I just stopped and re-recorded it. So yeah,
they're so lovely. I always thought, like, why didn't I do that? Like, that's so smart. Why did I spend 2 months on this when Helen produced something so lovely with such a short amount of time?
But it's different, isn't it? You got to do different things.
Yeah.
Like, Dalia, when you and I worked on the MongoDB video, which I really wanted to talk about too, because the MongoDB video was like the culmination of the year in a way, because we did pairing like we've been doing earlier on the year. We tried to blend what we learned from Helen about having a more relaxed style and more conversational style with with some of the stuff we've been learning in the coding in terms of MongoDB and Spring, and then Dalia, your kind of focus on getting a good use case that we can demonstrate to the users. So I thought that I thought that was a really nice blend of all the things that we learned this year.
I loved that video. I loved just you two chatting, and at one point, I think it was you, Trish, saying, "Show me the thing again, Dalia. Show me the thing." It was lovely. It was informal. It flowed, and it was just two professional developers having a chat and learning from each other. So yeah, it was a lovely blend of your different approaches.
The thing I really have to mention, of course, is that Dalia started Coffee Club, because without Dalia, we would not be here.
This is true.
Yes, and I apparently made a mistake by starting the first episode at episode 0, which is
giving you so much crap for that.
It was so clever, and then Helen keeps reminding me of like, oh, we are 6 episodes in, Dalia, even though
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Can I also give you crap about your OCD for storing the documents in the same place, or is that too far?
Yes, no, that's completely fair.
Right, great.
They're all in one spot now, though.
Yeah.
So it worked.
There I was on holiday having to appease your OCD and move my documents.
Yes. No, I've been very happy about in Coffee Club, mainly because I feel like there's a lot of stuff that happens when you just sit down and have a chat. Instead of having a full-on presentation. There's space for both, of course, but I feel like I learned a lot when we were just chatting and talking about different topics, and I wanted to bring that to everyone else. And that's I think we've accomplished that, and I've loved folks in the chat just kind of being part of our episodes and hearing from them. We're not just talking at them; we're also listening to what they have to say. That I've missed that during the pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, I had an idea back in July last year when we did the JetBrains Technology Day for Java. I had enjoyed using this tool to be able to talk to the audience and to get the interaction from the audience, because for exactly what you just said, we're missing conferences. As developer advocates, our job is not just to publish, it's to listen to developers. And by not traveling, not doing user groups, not doing conferences, and doing virtual conferences, which are much more unidirectional, we were losing a lot of that. So I made a note, like back in July, I'm like, well, we should do something which is a bit more, which is live, needs less preparation, and most importantly, brings the audience in to talk to us as well. But it took Dalia saying, Trish, what does this look like? Trisha, how are we going to do it? Trisha, we're going to do it this month. Trisha, this
it would never be here without Dalia, honestly.
It would not.
I think there was some nagging, and there had to be.
I'm not going to use the word nagging. I'm going to use the word
persuasion. I had to
management.
persuade.
You did. You had to persuade a lot.
For me, it was more, you did a good job of trying to, because you know what my schedule's like. It's always like filled in with, yes, but not this week because annotating monthly. And Java and IntelliJ IDEA 2020 something is coming out, so we can't do it. You did a really good job of sliding around all of those and going, right, we're going to do it on this day. I don't need anything from you. Just check over this document and it'll be fine. I'm like, yes, okay. And it worked really well. It's been really good to work together as a team, because for the 7 years that I was here, for most of that, so when did Mala join us? She joined us 3 years ago. So like at least 4 years I was doing it on my own. And this last 2 years, really, having people to be able to lean on, having people to do things like just draft some documents and put some points in and say, just fill that in for me, Trish, has been really helpful. So, Coffee Club. I did want to talk about one other thing that Dahlia brings to the team that that you out there don't see as much, which is that Dahlia does the thing better than most of the rest of us in terms of talking to the developers inside IntelliJ IDEA. Particularly around enterprise Java features inside the IDE, but mostly around when she's doing like the Docker videos or whatever, she'll contact the developer and say, this doesn't make sense. Like, I don't understand how this works. And really nicely, like, how am I supposed to do this thing?
Very, very nicely, respectfully.
Yeah, like, how could you help me figure out how to do this thing? Because it seems like it's not possible. And working really well with the developers to not only to learn for herself, but to also affect changes with the product, which is something I have never really been that great at. I've been so busy going, I love IntelliJ, and just like flinging stuff out there to the developers and not doing enough internal facing stuff to talk to the developers, to say to the developers on IntelliJ IDEA, to say, what about if we did this? Or actually, this is kind of confusing. I generally bridge the gap in a different way by saying, this is confusing. Here's how you get around it. And Dahlia's been doing a great job, like even as much as when she couldn't get things changed inside JetBrains, she's been committing code to IntelliJ IDEA itself, which I have never done. Thank
you, Trisha. And I think it's really great that the developers in IntelliJ IDEA, they really care about making those changes. It's just a matter of getting to the right person and giving them that feedback. So I really appreciate folks like listening to me and being like, oh, I didn't realize that was hard, because they've been in the code for so long. So like it's been really fantastic working with so many like dedicated and smart people at JetBrains.
So I was hoping that we would have some more comments from the audience to comment on. Mostly,
they're all like wishing you the best and asking what you're gonna do next, and everyone's very, very nice. I think they're as sad as I am. So thank y'all for joining the sadness.
I've loved the Coffee Club audience. It's been really. I was a bit nervous. It can be challenging sometimes. Being visible on platforms like YouTube, you do get people coming along and saying mean things just for the sake of it. And we have had a very lovely audience. We see some of the same people again and again. We get people who are like engaged and want to have an interesting conversation, and so I have loved the Coffee Club audience.
Yeah, like it's a lovely community. I really appreciate folks for showing up and like be asking questions, being vulnerable, all those things. I think that's like so great. It brings flavor to my day. So I appreciate everyone tuning in to the episodes and like hearing us out and listening to us. It's so great.
I did want to do a call out, since we do have such an amazing audience. Like, there are 2 vacancies in the Java Advocacy team at the moment. If people are interested in doing Java Advocacy at JetBrains, there is actually a place for you to apply to that. Should I see if I can find I've had it somewhere. And you don't have to be an experienced advocate. as, I mean, Helen, when you joined us, you had your background in technical writing, but you were not an experienced advocate.
Nope.
And Dahlia, you were a tech lead. So you came from, again, like you and Helen you had very different job titles, but you had complementary skills. And it's really one of the things I like about working in developer advocacy at JetBrains is the people that you work with inside the wider team, not just our team, come from a range of backgrounds. They're looking for a particular set of skills, which is the engagement with users, with other developers, the engagement with the community. So, for example, people who join Coffee Club and engage with us, they're definitely a step in the right direction to developer advocacy skills, if that was something that you're interested in. So I always like to encourage people to go down the developer advocacy path, which is why both Dahlia and Helen, who were not developer advocates when I first met them, have ended up becoming developer advocates. I'm like, I think you've got the right skills. I think you should do it. So if you are kind of interested in this weird blend of technical and communication skills, if you don't think you're a people person, but actually you sort of are because you like explaining stuff to other developers, then this is a really good role for that sort of thing. And JetBrains is a great place to do that sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to call out for anybody who hasn't noticed your wrist there, Trisha.
Oh yes.
So we all got advent calendars from JetBrains, which are lovely. So you know the normal advent. Oh, I thought you were about to have yours there. So yeah, today's was these skin transfer stickers, which Trish, you've obviously taken to a whole new level by applying them already. I would like to publicly.
I have kids.
Well, yeah, true. Was it 3 days ago that we all got glitter bombed? I'm not sure.
Yes.
But I definitely had to hoover up a lot of glitter from across the lounge floors. So, there's perks like that as well.
Yeah, you too can have a skin tattoo which has the products on it.
Yes.
I hope this comes off.
You'll be fine. You'll be there in a week. Still not off. Still.
You'll have to join JetBrains at that point.
Yeah, come back.
I'm coming back. I can't work anywhere else.
They told us they were temporary.
Sneaky, very sneaky. It's a good thing I didn't use one of the others. I think Evie, my 6-year-old, she wanted to. Which one did she want? I think she wanted Kotlin. I'm like, she's going to have to program in Kotlin for the rest of her life if she puts that on her skin. Right. Well, we are 45 minutes in. Have we got anything else we want to cover? I know that, Dahlia, you will want to cover what's coming up in the next episode, because I do want to be really clear, just because Helen and I are off to bigger, better things, not really. Coffee Club will continue and Java Advocacy at JetBrains will continue.
Yes, I am definitely continuing Coffee Club, mainly because I feel like there has been a lot of value from it. I am planning on inviting Helen and Trisha back, and this time they are not obligated to show up, so we'll see if they say yes. But next episode, I figured since it's going to be a new year, I want to kind of do something that is important to me every new year, which is forming new habits. So I decided I'm going to invite a couple of the developer advocates at JetBrains as well, and just chat about how to start and maintain new habits. It's going to be January 12th, and it's going to be it's going to be a Wednesday. And it's going to be an hour earlier than this time slot, mainly because the time change. So definitely tune in, especially with the new year. We're going to start talking about how do you form new habits, start them and maintain them, because the maintaining part is always the hard part. So definitely tune into that.
I think we will be tuning into that, won't we, Helen?
Yep, sounds like a plan.
We can be heckling you from the comments.
Yes. You'll be in the chat heckling me the entire time. I'll welcome it.
Nacho's asking, how many of you are looking forward to going to a conference in person? I miss conferences. I miss conferences. I miss chatting to my friends at conferences. Nacho, I will be there at Barcelona Conf at some point. But I'm still really nervous about it because, I have 2 little kids. I have an at-risk mother-in-law. I have an at-risk dad. And I don't live very close to my dad. He's 1,000 miles away in England, and I'm going to save my limited amounts of travel to spend it on things which are really important to me.
That's completely fair. I did go to an in-person conference a couple of weeks ago. I went to AWS reInvent. Apparently there was like 26,000 attendees. So it was a pretty big conference in Las Vegas. And for me, it was, a risk reward kind of thing where I felt comfortable enough, and, everyone was masked and there was a vaccination mandate and all that stuff. So I ended up going, and it reminded me of why I missed in-person conferences. And it was so great to talk to people in person and have those discussions with developers, and just kind of have a chat. So I am hoping that by next year things are a little bit better and we can do more of that, because I love seeing people in person. And hopefully maybe next year I get to see Trisha and Helen and meet them in person, because up until now we have never met in person.
That is true. I was looking at the pictures of you at AWS reInvent, going, I don't know how tall Dahlia is. I've never seen her.
Yeah, we'll see. Like, maybe you're super tall and I have no idea.
No.
I'm sure you were stood next to Marco in one of those photos.
I did. And the difference was very interesting as well. So we'll have to take a picture with the three of us next to each other and compare heights.
Yeah.
Helen's quite tall. Helen's taller than me.
Is she really?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay.
I think that Zoom is the great equalizer. We're all at the same level.
Although I am stood up, not sat down, but yeah.
Well, that just proves my point, really. I got nothing else, really.
Did y'all want to tell us about any the books or anything that...
We can. I don't really. I feel a little bit guilty using this platform to promote our book, but it is an IntelliJ IDEA book.
Yes, so I'd love to hear about it, because I think I read it and it was super helpful for me as an IntelliJ IDEA user. So if you spent like a minute or two, I'd love to hear more about it.
Let me post a link to our very basic Lean Pub page, and Helen, you can talk about the book.
Can I? Okay, good. Right. Prepared for that question. I was not. So yes, the book, Getting to Know IntelliJ IDEA. So it is something that Trisha and I have been working on for best part of a year now, right? Maybe even slightly over a year. So we are combining Trisha's extensive experience of developing at the coalface, very much professional Java developer, my experience of being new to IntelliJ IDEA. I don't know the workarounds. I don't know how to necessarily use it in anger, and my returning to Java. So I'm asking Trisha the questions of, yeah, but how does this work? Or what about this? Or why don't we do it that way? Or why would you even do that? That's insane. We're creating the content very much like that. We are co-authoring it together. So we're using a lot of Code with Me. So we do pairing sessions. We're writing the whole book in IntelliJ IDEA, shameless plug, but it really works for us, and the workflow works as well. So we can use Code with Me. Generally, when we get on a session, Trisha does a kind of splurge from her brain, and I kind of write it up in Helen's shorthand that only Helen can read and understand. Check it in, and then we iterate on that to and fro until we have something that resembles something helpful that we are putting together into the book. So yeah, it's really cool. And as Dahlia said, we had a pretty rough draft, but a draft none the same that we shared with a few people to kind of get some early feedback and find out if we're on the right track. And Dahlia did an amazing job of adding a load of comments, which was awesome. So thank you, Dahlia, for that, because we were able to kind of go, oh, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Or, okay, cool. We thought that was a good thing to put in. We'll keep it. So that's been really helpful for us.
Dahlia's feedback was very, very helpful because she's definitely one segment of IDE users that is sometimes difficult to talk to because you're an experienced Java developer, but not so experienced with the IDE. And we really wanted to make sure that we get input from someone like you.
Absolutely.
I did get a chance to review the whole book, and it was super well written already, and it's only a draft. I loved the Helen tips and the Helen hints and Trisha tips. I love that. And I read a lot of those in their voices. And I think the main thing I took away is I knew kind of the how I should think about IntelliJ IDEA or the intention behind the tool. I think that really helps you use the tool better because then you're kind of thinking, hey, like where would they have put this? Well, they want everything to be easily reachable, all the stuff. So maybe I should look here or there. And it really taught me where to look. Like it's there's so much good content in there. I just can't wait for it to be available for everyone else and they can like get all that all the great wisdom and grow their skills with the book. So like I am really looking forward to when it's available for publishing.
Thanks, Dahlia.
Thank you. It was tricky because initially our first draft of it was just basically a table of contents of loads of tutorials of like, here's how you do a Gradle project, here's how you do a Maven project, here's how you do, and we were like, this is going to date immediately, and we already have this on things like the guide and on the blog and on YouTube and stuff. So what you just said, Dahlia, is exactly what we were aiming for. Like as the product has more features, if the UI changes, what will still remain that you can have in a physical book form that will be helpful for you as a user. And it was all about like, how does IntelliJ think? Like, where does it put stuff? Where should you be looking?
Yeah, we've that's a really interesting point as well, because as you know, with extensive experience in technical writing, I've actually found that quite difficult because my experience is to write in a very tutorial and a very structured style, but we deliberately didn't want to do that because you know, you have all that information. That's what documentation is for. We wanted to very much come from the point of view of the professional developer and real world problems and real world challenges. So book coming soon.
We're being asked, can you see the content? No, you can't see the content yet. We are, I would say we're about 80% complete, but I've said that since July. So we're probably still about 80% complete.
Yeah, so follow Trisha and Helen to learn more about when it's coming out, progress, all that stuff. I'm hoping it'll be available and we'll see the status.
Yeah,
we'll try and get some more updates out there and get a bit more transparency around it now, I think.
Yeah, I think
kind of kept it to ourselves.
We were a bit scared about it, and we didn't really want to commit to something if we couldn't do it. And we really wanted to get it out by the end of the year, but with work commitments and with Head First Java and Helen has her other stuff going on, like we really wanted it to come out by the end of the year, but we just couldn't do it.
It's gonna be worth the wait.
I hope so. But we could probably put the table of contents on that link that we put there, and we have a good table of contents is probably fairly static.
I changed it just the weekend just gone, so I'm sure it's fine.
This is what you're going to be doing after you leave.
I only made some tweaks to chapter 4. It's fine.
Lovely.
Right, shall we? So you've already promoted the next coffee club. I feel like there's probably something JetBrains flavored we should probably promote. But generally, we are kind of ramping down for the end of the year.
I remembered. So for next year, I am looking for ideas for Coffee Club on topics. So if you have any topics, please, my Twitter handle is right here. DM me or email me or whatever you'd like to do. I'm looking for topics that you care about hearing from. One of the other topics that I'm thinking about doing is burnout. But we'll see how that goes. So let me know. If you have any topics, I'd love to have them, and any guests that you'd really like to hear from. I'm looking for ideas, and y'all have great ones.
Juan's got the suggestion of JShell console in IntelliJ IDEA. I don't think I can explain JShell console in IntelliJ IDEA. It sort of works. But yes, that would be quite good to. I'm writing some stuff at the moment on for Head First Java, which is like introductory stuff, and a lot of people are saying we should be using JShell for teaching some of this stuff, and I think that's a really interesting idea. I feel like someone like me who's been doing Java for a long time just keeps forgetting that it's there. Like, oh yeah, I could use JShell. I don't need to do public study void main to do everything. I don't need semicolons either.
And thank you, Stan, for the DevOps thing. I was thinking about the Kubernetes, maybe doing something with Kubernetes like what I did for Docker, but we'll see how that goes, if there's enough interest in that. All right. I think we are at the top of the hour. So feel free to DM me if you have any more thoughts. And thank you, Trisha, so much for all the work you've done at JetBrains. You've made a big difference in so many people's lives, and I really appreciate the opportunity to get to work with you. I wish you the very best coming up here. I hope you get to have a wonderful year next year, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you do next year. Helen, we're going to keep talking. We're going to keep chatting, and I can't wait to see what you do at MongoDB. It's been so great working with both of you. I'm so privileged, and I'm so excited to see what you do next year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dahlia.
Thanks, Dahlia.
You have to keep the torch burning. This has been an amazing team.
And write a book on Docker, just throwing it out.
Oh,
Great.
maybe.
I'll get my coat.
And thank you to our audience for tuning in to the Coffee Club episodes. I am looking forward to hearing from you, and I am looking forward to seeing you next year with more Coffee Clubs.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.